to invite you, all the commissioners. One being the Arbor Day event, which will be held tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. at Casa Adobe. And the second event will be the grand opening of the Nature Education Center, which will be held on March 19th between 11 and 1 p.m. We will have flyers sent out within the next week or so to all the commissioners and to the public. Thank you. To invite you, all the commissioners, one being the Arbor Day event, which will be held tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. at Casa Adobe. And the second event will be the grand opening of the Nature Education Center, which will be held on March 19th between 11 and 1 p.m. We will have flyers sent out within the next week or so to all the commissioners and to the public. Thank you. To invite you, all the commissioners, one being the Arbor Day event, which will be held tomorrow.
I think I'm getting some feedback from the stream.
Yeah, I think it's just looping the statements over and over again.
Or if anybody, does anybody have the streaming going on in their computer?
I'm getting a message that is coming from Stephen Meek, that his mic is on. I don't know.
Mr. Meek, if you're watching the live stream on your computer or your phone, you'll need to mute that. Otherwise, your mic will pick it up and it's going to loop.
I think we're good to go now.
Thank you.
Are you ready for the next item? Can you hear me?
Yes.
President Sardarbagian?
Yes, commission staff comments, please.
Okay, that would be item 3, commission staff comments.
I'm happy to go first. I did want to just share my experience. Earlier this month, my son and I had the pleasure of volunteering to clean up the Glendale Narrows Riverwalk. This is our first time doing it, and this event is hosted every month by the Community Services and Parks Department in partnership with the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation. And I just wanted to really take a moment to thank the department and the foundation for all of your work on revitalizing the LA River and its adjacent areas. I spoke with the staff at the event, Mike, and one of your former staff who is now a lead volunteer. His name was John. Who shared with me that he worked at the department when the revitalization work first started, and it's just amazing to really see how far it has come along. There are really signs of animal life and natural greenery that other parts of the river don't have, and it's just a really beautiful space to experience. So if you haven't been there yet, I really encourage everyone to go. The department and the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation are hosting a spring event in April, and I'm sure we'll share more information about that later down the line, but mark your calendars for that. And on a similar note to the river, I know that the Verdugo Wash Visioning Project, which is led by the Community Development Department, is in the conceptual design phase to see how the wash can be converted into public space, which is a very ambitious and interesting and exciting project. I know that they just completed their community outreach. Or one phase of their community outreach, I believe. And I was wondering if that project's progress would be reported to this commission. I know it's pretty early in their design phases, but I would love to just be updated on their progress regularly.
Absolutely. President Sardarbagian, members of the commission, I sit on the committee, the Verdugo Wash Committee, so I will talk to Mr. Calvert over at CDD and see if he can make a presentation and maybe have the consultant make a presentation too after they compile all of the data that was received last weekend at the outreach event.
Awesome. Thank you. I look forward to hearing more about it.
Perfect. Commissioner Wolfson?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I hope that there's still a chance to contribute for the Arbor Day event. Time got away from me. Unfortunately, I know this is a personal matter, but my little dog passed away, and it was kind of a rough month for me. And so anyhow, I just want to put that out there that I was hoping to attend that and make a donation for a tree to be planted. I don't know if we can still do that or not. The second thing I wanted to mention was recently a neighbor of mine commented, she wondered because she seemed to have a recollection that the city used to have some kind of craft lessons that they sponsored or somehow put together that were in Nibley Park. And I commented to her, I didn't know if that was actually something the city had done or whether it was maybe some private entity that was doing that. No, it was the city, she said. And then I commented that I think there's a lot of activities. It was like for children, I think. And I said, there's a lot of these types of activities at Verdugo and at other larger parks in the city. And so I just thought I would mention that in passing. I don't know what the plans are, and especially with pandemic conditions. Obviously, this is not a time when, we're necessarily going to be starting up new in-person programming, but I just thought I would throw it out there. And if we do sort of reinvent ourselves post-COVID, maybe it's something that can be reactivated. Anyhow, thanks for letting me ask or make these comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Meek?
Yes, I recently participated in the Glendale homeless count for the first time. It was very enlightening for me to see and wander through the city, places I haven't been before, and learn about some of these homeless people, some of which have been in Glendale for their entire lives. I would suggest that, we could get more community involvement in this to make it an annual thing that, well, it's not annual. I guess it's once a year. Is that right, Onig?
Yes, it's once a year.
Yeah. And get the different commissioners to participate in this. I think it would be very helpful for all of us. Also, I did attend the one of the 3 events for the Verdugo Wash Project and spoke with the landscapers and the transportation people. It is still very early. They want to do it in phases, which makes perfect sense that it's such a large project. And I agree that we should keep the Parks Commission fully informed on its progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kalfayan?
I'm wondering if we're taking any new steps at this time regarding the COVID, or we're developing new programs for the summer. I don't know what the health department is firing. If we can give us some idea if we're developing new projects for our programs.
Yes, President Sardar Beg, members of the commission. We've seen a lax on the protocols and the COVID related rules and regs that have been put in place. As you've heard, the state this morning just announced that they will be lifting the mask requirements for school-age children in elementary school starting, I believe, March 12th. LA County is different. LA County will make their will assess what the state is doing, but they usually follow suit a couple weeks after. But our goal is for the summer to increase our programming and basically follow the protocols if there are any protocols in place. With the way things are going, I think some of the protocols will be lifted, but our main priority is the safety of our participants. So whatever priorities, whatever regulations and rules are in place, we'll go ahead and implement and continue to implement safety standards post-COVID. But our hope is that we do increase our capacity and have our regular programming pre-COVID. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I'm done.
Oh, okay. Well, I have, I guess, one or two small items. One of them, I had a member of the community reach out to me and wanted to meet with regarding a robotics kind of offering that he has in mind for our recreational division. He's a scientist, and he figured that a free program such as kind of the idea that he brought to me would be very, very beneficial to the community. So I have set up another meeting with him to kind of discuss it, just to kind of better understand his idea. And then during our next meeting, I will definitely bring it up to everyone and kind of get everyone's feedback on it. Aside from that, the other thing I had kind of noticed and saw, and I kind of have been thinking about it, is some of our basketball programs and incorporating sports and some art into basketball programs. There's a article I was reading about, I think it was like the 30 nicest basketball courts in the entire world, where artists actually go around and paint basketball courts with different designs and stuff to incorporate either the city or some kind of thing. So that's also something I'm going to kind of look into, see what local artists we could find that would be willing to donate their time and effort, along with what materials are actually needed for a specific type of paint that sticks to the floors and won't turn them into an ice skating rink. So hopefully by the next meeting I could kind of give you guys something more concrete in regards to those two items.
Thank you, President Sardar Beg and members of the commission. In regards to the robotics program, that'll be great. We have looked into robotics program, but we're open to adding programs. We'll work with recreation staff and see if it's feasible to have a program in one of our centers. As for the arts on our basketball courts, that's something that we can look into, entertain with the Library Arts and Culture. Since it would be an art in the park, we would ask that the Library Arts and Culture provide feedback as well as the Parks Commission.
That's perfect. Next item.
Next item is 4 oral communications. We don't have any callers at this time. Item 5, consent items. At A, approval of the minutes of the commission's special meeting held on January 24, 2022.
Commissioner Alcazar.
I move to approve the minutes, if that works for everyone.
Okay.
I believe Commissioner Meek was seconding that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll take roll call. Commissioners Alcazar,
Yes.
Alfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Wolfson.
I am abstaining because I was not present at the meeting.
Thank you. And President Sardar Begin.
Yes.
Okay, action items. So 6A is dog park outreach meeting update at 1. Motion recommending a location for a new dog park to the City Council and asking City Council to direct staff to engage the services of a design consultant to prepare design alternatives and cost estimates for subsequent commission and council consideration.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, President Sardar Beg and members of commission. I'd like to share the PowerPoint with you that kind of briefly touches on the different aspects of the report. Before I start though, Commissioner Wolfson, to your question about Arbor Day, I believe you should still be able to make a donation and purchase a tree in honor or memory of individuals. I've sent an email to the individual at Glendale Beautiful and copied you. Although I will also be there tomorrow, so we can walk through it if we don't get that addressed before the day. Yeah, as far as the presentation, please let me know if this starts showing on your screen.
It's showing.
Wonderful. So about May of 2021, last year, City Council asked the park staff to look at options for dog park. Initially, we start with considering Pelanconi Park, and they wanted us to research what it would take and bring it back to council for consideration. Between May and October, staff conducted all the research, looked at some options at different dog parks, what type of amenities they would have, and put together a report for council's overview and direction. And within that report, staff identified 3 potential sites that might be suitable for a dog park in Glendale. First option was Pelanconi Park, as suggested by council at the time. We also brought forth the city's parking lot 11, which this council had inquired about making some possible looking into it to see if it could be a possible park within the downtown area, as well as there's an area in Brent Park north of the library that we had just recently converted into a new picnic area. That was also being asked of us to consider. So we presented these 3 sites to council. After council reviewed all 3 sites, they asked us to go and hold a outreach meeting with the community. They wanted us to seek the community's input to see if they would support a dog park, and they actually identified 3 locations. They were perfectly fine with including city's parking lot 11. They also said Pelanconi Park should be considered as one of the 3 options, and they weren't crazy about the idea of Brand Park, given that it is heavily used. It has Arbor Day trees already planted within. It is a newly developed picnic area. They wanted to keep that as is and asked us to look at the Glendale Community College's South Campus. We'll go through all 3 of these in the next few slides. As far as the community outreach, we scheduled a virtual meeting on January 19th and invited the community. The way of outreaching to the community, we did our normal mailers for each property that we identified, the radius, 500 feet radius of the property. Every resident received a postcard. We also did an email blast to all of our users and individuals that are on our mailing list. The department website identified this as an upcoming meeting. Social media, as well as the city calendar, listed it. And on the day, we had 32 community members that attended and participated in the outreach, as well as we had council members, commissioners, and city staff, including us from parks, individuals from IT, and others that totaled 10 in addition to the 32. In the presentation, we identified the 3 sites for the community. We told them about the pros and cons based on what we know of the site logistically. And we also listed some of the amenities that would be normally found in local dog parks. So we really wanted to know 2 things from the community at this time. Were they in favor of a new dog park? And if so, which location would they think would be the most ideal for us to consider moving forward to present to commission and then to council? Let's look at the option 1. And these were in no particular order of preference, although it just seems to fall that way. Option 1 was the city's parking lot 11, which is located on Colorado Boulevard, right next to the National Guard Armory. This is across from the Adult Recreation Center, the future Central Park. It is in downtown Glendale, which is a great benefit. It is just slightly over half an acre in size. It's 0.54 acres in size. Surrounding, you have some multi-family residentials in the south. It is close to the Marketplace parking lot, which is off of Artsoff Avenue and Harvard. There are restrooms currently at Central Park. Even the new master plan of Central Park will have ample restrooms to accommodate. The area would obviously require some new utilities and security lighting and water for irrigation as well as water for drinking. As you notice right now, it is a parking lot. It is contracted to one of our auto dealers to store their overflow vehicles. And this does generate revenue for the city. Option 2 was Pelanconi Park. This would be south end of the park. If you're familiar with Pelanconi Park, it is more of a rectangular shape with the far north end being a multi-use baseball soccer field. The central would be the playground, restroom, and some picnic tables. And the south is fairly wide open turf area with some trees and some picnic tables. It is roughly half acre in size. It is fairly accessible. It has parking on the sides. It is level. It does have existing utilities and infrastructure. Although this site is bordered with commercial on the north and residential, north and west, commercial, and then the residential would be on the east. And option 3 is the new campus that the Glendale Community College is building at the Garfield site. which is at 1122 East Starfield. This is roughly about a 0.85 acre. It's just slightly less than an acre in size. And it is level, it is easily accessible site. This would be for temporary use though. GCC has plans to eventually construct a parking structure at this location. So if we decided to build a dog park at this site, it would be for temporary use. And the site would be bordered by the college, single and multifamily residentials so all around, and there are some commercial uses in the area as well. What are some common features found in dog parks? We thought that this is critical to share with the community so they get a general idea. Although we weren't proposing any and all of these would be commonly found in dog parks. One is restroom. People attending the park would need to have access to restrooms. Obviously, because of the dogs and the business they do at the park, there have to be some waste disposal bags and cans for that. Drinking fountains for people as well as the dogs. Some seating. You always want to make sure there's some shade trees or structures so people that have their dogs running around enjoying the park, they can have some shade to sit and wait and enjoy the other patrons' companies. Parking would be ideal. Obviously, accessible accommodations for parking, signage that are regulatory for our park rules and just general health rules that might be impacting dog parks. And usually, dog parks are designed to be more attractive to the users and neighbors. And we've seen some dog parks that would not be ideal for Glendale. So when we designed this, we want to make it looking very attractive for the community. There are some other typical dog park elements. Definitely there needs to be some fencing. In order for the dogs to run around freely, which is the intent of a dog park, we need to construct some chain link fencing or tubular fencing. We can determine that as the design moves forward. Something at least 6 foot high. We would need to have gates to allow for the dogs access and egress, and also gates that allow for us to conduct maintenance on the site. And generally, you want to have at least 2 areas. You want to have an area for large dogs that can run around, and some area for small dogs, or some other individuals might prefer to call it for aggressive dogs and more passive dogs. And there is determination at one point that we'd have to consider, which is what type of surfacing, whether we want to go with the wood mulch, the gravel, turf, or decomposed granite. There are also some optional dog park elements. You can make this Disneyland attractive, agility courses, water play features, and in most everything that we've discussed so far, we want to bring back to the community, hold another community meeting, and their feedback, what they would want to see. During the community meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the type of surfacing. So we wanted to shift the focus of the community first onto, do we want a dog park? Where do we want it? And allow us in the future steps to come back for the design elements. And that will be evaluated by consultants and staff as what would be the most ideal surfacing. So we'll be dealing with that during the design process. So the outreach results. Attendees were overwhelmingly supportive of a new dog park. I don't believe anyone in attendance said we do not want a dog park. Although there were some concerns about just overall safety, maintenance issues as related to dog feces and urination and people picking up after their dogs. The type of surfacing, of course, going to matter as it relates to maintenance and overall health. Noise issues were an element. Some neighbors of certain parks, specifically at Palanconi, were concerned about all the barking of the dogs running around. Traffic, the congestion of traffic, the activities of people coming and parking in the area was of concern to some people. And there were at least a couple of folks raised questions about, hey, what about dog walkers come in and start monopolizing the use of our park by, bringing their the dogs they're walking and let them run free. These were all legitimate concerns the community brought forth, and we really appreciated that, because as we evaluate the designs, we need to look at incorporating some of these concerns into the design. And we wanted them to give us their input, and it seemed as though of the 28 individuals that took a stance, took a vote on which would be their choice, 25 chose parking lot 11. And a lot of it had to do with the downtown area. A parking lot 11 would bring a new green space down to the downtown area. It's something that this commission and council had been asking us as the community department, community service department, to look at. And this would actually achieve a lot of goals. It would bring the new green space. It would expand our park within the downtown area, and then it'll create a new dog park. Palanconi actually received 3 votes in support. The individuals who supported said, it's already existing turf space. You already have some shade trees, maneuver maneuverability and some fencing might be required, but they supported Pelanconi being the option. Yet this was the park where the noise concern from the neighbors across the street from the park were raised, as well as the traffic within the neighborhood. And also there were some folks that communicated about, we already have some green space for the public to use. Why would we want to take that away and limit it to all parties? Even though back in the day, the concept was we don't even have enough people park. Why do we build dog parks? Well, in reality, dogs can't go to the park by themselves. People would have to take them. So whatever we construct this, people will also be enjoying the park. Yet in Pelanconi's case, people felt, let's leave Pelanconi as it is because it already has green space. Let's shift it to somewhere like parking lot 11 where it's asphalt, and let's turn that into green space. The GCC location did not garner much support, and primarily that was because it'd be temporary. And people felt that why should we spend any funds in constructing a park that will be temporary and would have to be shifted and moved yet again? So based on the attendees, the number one choice turns out to be parking lot 11 in downtown Glendale. So the next steps, as the motion was read into the record early on, we are asking for commission support to adopt the motion and identify commission's ideal location and direct staff to go to council to start looking at engaging the services of a consultant to work on the design phase and look at cost alternatives for future commission and council consideration. And at this time, I can entertain questions from commission.
Anyone have any questions?
I would just say thank you very much for the outreach. I attended the meeting. It was very well done. And I saw the 32 people in attendance were so much ready for this. They wanted it downtown for all of those new apartment condo complexes so people could actually get to the park without driving.
I would also like to comment, I attended the meeting as well, and I was very excited to see so many people virtually show up. And it was great to see how engaged and enthused they were. I think there was overwhelming support. They want additional park space, and they expressed that in their opinion. I think without getting into our discussion phase yet, although I will tell you, I think we should give the people what they want. Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to add a comment and question as well. Thank you, Mr. Panosian, for the summary. This is, I agree, a very exciting opportunity for the city to add potentially more green space. And given the feedback received, its adjacency to the downtown area, the fact that South Glendale needs more parks, I do agree that that Lot 11 is overwhelmingly seems to be the winner here. I did want to confirm a comment. I think I heard at the meeting that the Armory site is owned by the city. Is that correct?
Yes, President Soderberg and Commissioner Alcazar. Yes, the Armory site is a city-owned property. However, it is on a long-term 40-year lease to the the National Armory, the National Guard. And I believe there is probably another 20 years in that agreement. So the discussions, as you had heard and has presented to this commission in months back when we looked at options for parks in the downtown area, is that once that agreement is completed, is done, the city may consider incorporating that as a park. And now that's 20 years down the road. Future commissions and councils will have to address that as it comes up, but that is a possibility, given that it is adjacent to a city property, city-owned property. That could very well be an option for future staff and commissions and councils to consider.
Got it. Thank you. And it is exciting or great to hear that you also did some outreach to the neighbors who are directly located within 500 feet of this site. I did have that question, but I more specifically reaching out to stakeholders like for Lot 11, especially the Elks Lodge, the National Guard, again, that's located on the Armory site right next door, the Armenian American Museum, who would be located across the street, as well as Holy Family Church, which would be sort of a little behind, right, Lot 11. Did you conduct any outreach or conversations with them?
The Commissioner Alcazar, if those properties fall within the 500 feet, they did receive the information about this being a meeting that's going to be held virtually to discuss this lot as an option. Now, I can't really gauge, but right adjacent to it, I would think both the Armory and the Elks Lodge would have received it. I don't know how far away the Holy Family Church would be, and given that the museum isn't currently there, there's no address for them. I can't be sure if they received it, although members on that board are likely in our email list that they have received it. The chair of the Armenian Museum, I believe, should be in one of our mailing lists. They would have received knowledge of this. But it was also advertised. We didn't specifically reach out to them to answer the question, but it was advertised via numerous avenues within the city, the webpage, as we mentioned, the city's calendar, and it was publicly noticed that these would be the sites that would be identified for a possible dog park.
Got it. Okay. So just to confirm, if we select a location today, we would only focus on that location moving forward and present it to council to go into the design phase and cost analysis, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Alcazar, that is correct. We are seeking guidance on one location currently to move forward. And based on your input, we'll take the community's input from the meeting. We'll take your input now. If there are any other callers that provide input today on this item, we'll incorporate that as well for council's overall consideration. But at this point, we are seeking guidance to narrow the three down to one, so we can proceed with one. It makes it a lot more efficient to identify, hire a consultant, and focus on the design elements at that one location. So yes, that is absolutely correct.
Okay. So I would suggest, I think it sounds like we're all leaning towards Lot 11, if we are, that if we move forward with Lot 11, that conversations with the specific stakeholders that are surrounding these areas, right? So again, the Elks Lodge, National Guard, Holy Family Church, also continue with them so that they're engaged throughout this process. I think the last, the least of our issues here that we need to hopefully not cross is that we move forward with this park, and that then the dogs barking might cause some issues with them, and we have to shut down the park. And no, there's no bias here. No bias here. I'm also a dog person.
As we move forward with the design process, we've already collected names of individuals that attended the meeting who are interested in continuing with the design phase. Now that we would have a site located, we focus on that site. We can expand the circle from 500 to a little wider range that we include more of that community that can provide output. And now that we all have more focused direction, assuming both council and commission select parking lot 11, we can do more extended outreach to the organizations that would be impacted and say, look, we have direction to build a dog park at this location. These are the design meeting times. Please join us and let us know your concerns to see if there is a way to either incorporate your concerns and or find mitigating measures to be able to move forward. So it helps us, again, narrow down the focus to one, and then the design process expanded to include the elements and or features that might want to see in that facility.
Amazing. Yes, we're on the same page. Thank you, Mr. Panosian.
I'm jumping in again. I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention something that had been in my mind, and I forgot to mention it during my moment in the sun. One thing I think we will want to do is, probably have some guidelines or rules for the park. And I'm sure that's something that you all are very aware of. But when Commissioner Alcazar mentioned the church, it occurred to me that maybe hours of operation, may be something that we look at so that we don't conflict. For example, if they're having services and they need it to be peaceful and quiet, that type of thing. I don't know. That's just a thought that popped into my mind. so that there's lots of things that will get ironed out, I think, in the process of the development of the park itself. So anyhow, thanks.
And Commissioner Wilson, you are correct. Some of those more fine-tuned issues will come up during the design phase, and the community's input will help us determine whether, again, the park hours should be adjusted I mean, just generally looking at the two locations, it's somewhat of a distance between the church, and even though they're close enough, they're still somewhat far. And I'm not sure if the noise element would be an issue. And that's through the design process, we can start identifying some of those issues and challenges so that we do, when we develop the park rules for dog park. Now, given that we do not have a dog park now, we'd have to go and do some research and figure out what is ideal to allow and not allow in the dog park. And so we will be working on some amendments to our rules specific to a dog park and incorporate that into the mix as well, which highly likely this commission would have input on and provide guidance when we finalize a new or revised policy to those rules specific to the dog park.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'll go ahead and move that we select the parking lot 11 to move forward as a dog park.
Well, before we do that, I just actually had a question. Parking situation. I know with Pelanconi, there's ample parking around the park itself, but I do agree that why get rid of green space when there's a space that we could use currently. What's the parking situation going to be like? Just because Colorado is somewhat of a busy street anyway, and I don't believe there is any direct parking on Colorado. So how would we get the parking?
So, President Sardarbegan, that's a good question. There are a couple of ways to approach this, and these will be again addressed in the design process. One, we do have the option of taking a small segment of the park and make it into parking off of Colorado, let's say, because it's kind of more commercial rather than impact the residential in the south. We can use that as an option. We currently have identified the marketplace as yet another option as a parking structure that could be there. Brand Boulevard is to the west. That could, provide some parking. I think it's Louise to the east. And again, those will be determined as we move forward. And if the consultant, based on their research and recommendation, comes forth and says marketplace may not be ideal because it's too far, we'll consider other options. There's also parking lot 10, which is adjacent to ARC, that little alleyway between Brand and ARC. So there are additional other parking within the area, within the vicinity, that may be used for this purpose. But again, I have a feeling that would be a question in the design phase that we'd have to address and look for what I mentioned earlier, mitigation measures and how do you address the parking issue. Whether you do incorporate a small segment of the park as parking and or you divert people to other locations that are within the vicinity park and walk their park. So we will have to address that as we get to the design process.
Makes sense. Thank you. That is all I had.
Okay, we did have a motion by Commissioner Meek. We still need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll take roll call. Commissioners Alcazar,
Yes.
Alfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Wolfson,
Yes.
and President Sardarbegian.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 7, reports, information only at AA's Workforce Development Section Activity Report.
Good afternoon, President Sarbekian, members of the commission. My name is Judith Velasco. Just as a way to recap the workforce section, we are a federally funded, locally funded, and state-funded section that administers primarily employment and training grants for the community. Our office is located at 1255 South Central Avenue here in Glendale and South Glendale. We are open to the public, so anybody in the public wishing to access employment services at no cost, which includes skills training, can come access our centers. We also have a youth employment program run by Glendale Youth Alliance. So we offer year-round employment opportunities for our youth in the community. Additionally, we serve business needs by working with businesses, identifying their recruitment needs, and especially right now that there's a lot of opportunities available for individuals. Our goal really is to connect with these opportunities and the businesses that need the workers. Overall, our grants have different start and end dates. Our goal in our section really is to apply for continuous funding year round. So we have these opportunities available at any given time. The section report that you have in your packet, I'm just highlighting 3 programs. We have much more than the ones I'm listing, but for the interest in time, one of the programs I wanted to highlight is our Bioscience Credential Project. So this is a project I'm very proud of because it involves partnership with business industry, with our community college system, and our workforce development board. And basically, when we initiated this project, we really identified different industry sectors that have growth opportunities. So overall, we tried to identify career pathways, entry-level career pathways that individuals can start at. And the president of Grifols Biologicals, Willie Sunica, he actually used to be a workforce board member, not in the Verdugo board, in the Los Angeles Workforce Development Board. So he was very familiar with working with employment boards and the work that we do. He initiated conversations with community colleges, and due to our reputation and working not only with Glendale Community College, but the local community college, they referred him to us. So over the course, I would say, of about 3 to 4 years, we met with Willie and his colleagues from Amgen, Takeda, Gilead, Kayad, Prolacta, a myriad of bioscience companies to identify what are those entry-level jobs that are in demand and what exactly they were looking for in individuals that applied for their positions. So overall, they noticed that community college did have robust bioscience programs, life science programs, associate's degree programs related to bioscience, but one of the missing components was really an assessment test that would solidify the knowledge that these individuals had after taking these courses. So that conversation resulted in the collaboration of an assessment instrument. So this assessment instrument was developed, the questions in the test was developed by Willie, by the presidents and associates of these companies, as well as instructors of community college systems to ensure its accuracy and level. So through our grant funding, we supported the development of the assessment instrument that is currently live. So currently anybody in any community college system who has taken a basic course in bioscience or completed a certificate course can be eligible to take this exam. Then if they score a 70 or better, they pass. They get a certificate with the Biocom Institute logo. And Biocom Institute, it's one of a bioscience association that certifies that they have basic knowledge for entry-level positions in biomanufacturing technicians, lab technicians. So over the course of a couple of months, we've had about 18 to 20 individuals take the exam, 18 to 20 pass, and are fully employed right after passing the exam. So we really are promoting this model that we've created with industry as our champion that shows that workforce programs such as ours have great collaboration with business and community college and really lead to career pathways in high growth areas. Our goal really is to mirror this type of program and assessment tools in other industries, such as cybersecurity, other areas that we see are in high growth demands. And the individuals eligible to take these tests do not have to have a bachelor's degree. They just have to participate in a career technical education program offered at community college system, which allows really the populations that we serve really an opportunity access points that they would not have been given otherwise. So just to recap, we really serve people with disabilities, English language learners, individuals who are homeless, veterans, a lot of populations that may have barriers to employment. we provide the skills and assistance they need to be successful. So we're hoping that this year that we will see more individuals take the exam, pass the exam, and really have an entryway to this career pathway. The average wage for somebody in bioscience, like starting off as a lab tech, can start high as $25 an hour or as high as $35 an hour. So it is a pathway that they can continue to grow and expand on. So it's the first of its kind, and we're very proud of it. So again, we wanted to share this program with the commission. The other two programs that we've highlighted are programs run by Glendale Youth Alliance. As you can imagine, with COVID, there has been a lot of housing need and rental assistance need. So the Glendale Youth Alliance, which is under the workforce section, applied for multiple housing grants, primarily in the area of rental relief programs. So currently, they have a program under the state's Housing is Key application process, which is funded until June 30th of this year to provide payment of back rent, utilities to tenants and landlords to prevent evictions. And they've been very successful in holding over 1,000 appointments, as well as assisting at least 425 community members with this much needed service. So this is something, hopefully the state will continue this grant program and will continue to apply for it in order to give this much needed support to the community. And also, we just recently closed the application process for the low income family employment and rental assistance program we call LifeWrap. So LifeWrap is an employment housing program. The goal is for families who are working part-time, for us to assist them obtain self-sufficiency either through better wages, better jobs, a savings plan. So we had an application window of about 2 weeks, February 7th to, well, actually closer to a month, February 7th to February 25th. Eligibility requirements of this program were they had to be a Glendale resident, residing in a residential unit, have one or more children under the age of 18, right to work, and a family member must be working right now 32 hours or a week or more. So we actually ran this program last year through Measure S funding, and it was very successful. 25 families started the program. 25 families successfully finished the program. So we're hoping to expand on last year's success. Once we complete the application process, review and interview the potential families, we hope to enroll another 25 or more into the program. And again, our experience has been the rental assistance component combined with employment has been really successful, because as we assist those families in searching for better wage jobs, they have less of a worrisome to think about the rent that they have to pay. We don't cover 100% of the rent, but the portion that we do cover, based on a formula given to us by Housing Department, allows some type of breathing room for them to either take additional classes or start a savings plan. So those are just a couple of programs I would like to highlight. I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have about our section and different programs that we offer.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for your work and congratulations. It sounds like these programs are very successful and have helped a lot of families so far and are continuing to expand. It is very important for families to who are in need or might not be financially stable right now to access additional resources to support them through, finding housing or stabilizing their housing. And it does sound like through our programs, they're able to find that support. So thank you for your work on this. And it's also very exciting to see more information about the biotech program as well. And the fact that it's the first of its kind is very exciting. And it's a great opportunity that it's easily accessible for our residents.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm going to hop on and also say thank you so much. And I'm also equally enthused to hear about these programs. especially, those are decent wages for anybody to be earning 25 to 35 an hour. That's really quite respectable. And that's the key thing, I think, is for people to be able to get jobs where they can earn a living wage. It's not, they're not going to be rolling in dough, but they can make the nut, the monthly nut. And that's really, that's really all anyone needs, I think, a lot of times, a little help doing that. So thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we have a saying here in workforce, don't just come to us for your first career, come to us for your second, third, and fourth, because it's an ongoing process.
Very nice. Thank you.
Judith, I wanted to thank you and all of the workforce development people for doing the work you're doing. You make Glendale a better place. I read through the agenda, the sheets, the packet, and it's amazing the work you guys are doing, and I commend you, and I hope we can keep this up over and over again for many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other commissioners with any comments? I think, I guess I'll just jump in. I think given what's going on, just not within Glendale, but locally throughout the LA County, and the homeless population increasing so much within the past few years, I think things like this are amazing. It's one thing to, give a certain amount of money to someone, but to offer them a way in, a direction as far as jobs are concerned, I think what you guys are doing is just so commendable and amazing long term, because a lot of these people will turn that into careers. And again, that's far better than any kind of financial aid that they might be given without direction for a possible career that will help them earn money lifelong. So I commend you guys for that. That's amazing.
Thank you, President Sarbaghi.
Next is item 7B, Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for December 2021.
Good afternoon again, President Sarbagian, members of the Commission. This will be a very brief report. For the month of December, our section completed 837 work orders, of which 822 were completed by our groundskeepers. There were 7 pesticide work orders that were completed, and then 8 irrigation repair crew work orders. The number looks a little low, but these were projects, and a lot of times bigger projects tend to be one work order with all the staff listed within it. And this was equal to about 1,023 labor hours for that month. Since then, we've been working, as Mr. Buligan said, the grand opening of the Barn Nature Education Center will be the upcoming in March. Within a couple of weeks, we are putting the final touches to the entire overhaul of the landscape around the barn, the perimeter, southwest, east, name it. That entire area is being re-landscaped. That's what staff has been working on, especially with the irrigation crew laying new, had to pull new pipes, new lines, valves, and Majan is very rocky, so it's a bit of a challenge to trench and be able to run the pipes. We're very excited about that, both projects being completed and being open when you visit in March. So that is the extent of my report for this month. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions?
Nope.
That was quick.
Okay, next item is 7C, Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report for January 2022.
Good afternoon, President Sardarbagian, members of the Commission. My name is Sabagar Abidin, and I will be going over the Recreation and Community Center Section Activity Report. Let me share the screen. We could all see the screen now, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So for the time being, nothing changed to our guidance that we put up and with regards to this image. It didn't change during the month of January, and we're monitoring the situation in terms of face masks to see what kind of changes, if any, will come around in our community centers and our facilities. But as of now, no changes as of our last meeting. Our senior meals program for during the month of January served 10,249 meals and 1,250 traditional home delivered meals. On January 25th, the City Council approved to return 257,500 from the money was returned back to the CDBG program in the amount of $257,500. That was given to the Elderly Nutrition Program to serve an additional 59,060 meals. On February 4th, 2022, LA County WEDAX informed the Senior Services Unit that an additional $254,000 will be available in funding through June 30, 2022. And CDA ARP funds in the amount of $232,000 were dedicated to the Congregate Meals Program, which is about 50,917 meals, and another 22,000 for the Traditional Home Delivered Meals Program, which is 5,164 meals. In January, our Trails and Open Space program had 3 events, 2 volunteer workdays and 1 Friday night lecture. January 8, 6 volunteers participated in the Riverwalk Workday. On January 15, 10 volunteers participated in the Wilderness Workday at Duke-Major Wilderness Park. And then on Friday, January 21, we had our Friday night lecture, Monarch Butterflies and the Plants They Love. Our Youth and Family Services STAR program participants continue to meet during the month of January. Each week had themed program activities, discussing the holidays, learning about natural disasters, and the importance of setting goals. Our Teen Night Out programs continued during the month of January. During the month of January, all of our Teen Night Out activities were held at Maple Park Community Center. On January 7th, teens were discussed what they did for the holidays. On January 14, they did a poster collage. On January 21, unfortunately, our monthly presentation was canceled due to speaker unavailability. However, the teens had a ping pong tournament instead. And then on January 28, they participated in some crafts and some board games. Our Maple All-Inclusive Play Day continued. It took place on January 15, 2022. The program is an opportunity to use the universal language of play to bring people and children of all abilities together. Our department sets out a table and performs additional crafts on that day. However, the main feature for that event is our Shane's Inspiration All-Inclusive Playground. Therapeutic recreation for adults, our Club Maple and Get Fit programs continued their monthly activities or weekly activities. Here's some pictures of Club Maple's bingo night. Then moving forward, upcoming events, we have our spring break camps coming up during the month of March 14th through 18th here at Pacific Community Center and at Spar Heights Community Center. While Pacific Community Center is sold out with 90 participants, there's still spaces available at Spar Heights Community Center. Of course, as Onig mentioned earlier, our Stone Barn Nature Center grand opening will take place on Saturday, March 19 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If for more information, people could visit glendaleca.gov/Stone Barn or call 818-548-3813. Pacific Community Center will be hosting the 20th annual Cesar Chavez commemorative event at Pacific in our Chavez Plaza from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Everybody's welcome to attend the program. Free tacos while supplies last, and the program should conclude by 4 p.m. We have an open house scheduled at Glendale Narrows Riverwalk on Saturday, April 2nd, 2022 from 10 to 1. And our department's annual spring extravaganza will take place on Saturday, April 9, 2022, again at Pacific Community Center from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Parents will be able to bring their kids, participate in some mobile rec games, carnival games, and of course, our egg hunt. There'll be an opportunity to take pictures with the Easter Bunny as well, and the Easter Bunny will lead the kids or the first set of kids on that egg hunt. And that concludes my presentation. there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Does anyone have any questions?
Nope, just thank you. And thanks to Coco too for his report.
President Sardarbagian, we don't have any additional items on the agenda.
So that, I believe, concludes our meeting for today. That was quick. Any last comments?
I hope to see you at the Arbor Day event tomorrow.
I will most likely be there. I'm trying to reorganize my schedule. Alrighty. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Until next time, hopefully next time we'll be in person.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
see you next
Bye.
month.